I've had Pokemon Y for about a week now, and so far I've clocked around 80 hours. It's fair to say that this game is sucking the life out of me. And so, I figured that in the interest of cosmic balance, I'd suck the life out of one thing and use it to create another. I became a Pokebreeder. Now, this is a grueling and time-consuming task, so I made this video to sort of help you guys around the nitty-gritty and hopefully save you from a little bit of trouble. So the first thing we're going to cover is individual values, or IVs. Every Pokemon has 6 of them, and they're in this order. HP, Attack, Defense, Special Attack, Special Defense, and Speed. Now, for each of these values, they're going to range between 0 and 31, where 0 bad, 31 good. If you want a flawless Pokemon, we're going to want 31 in all of these categories. To find out where in the range your Pokemon is, you're going to want to talk to the judge in Kalude City. He's in the Poke Center on the left of the nurse. He's the guy with the purple hair of Nya! Talk to him and select the Pokemon you'd like him to judge. He'll tell you the overall potential of your Pokemon, as well as the stats in which it's best. If, at the end of it, he says stats like those simply can't be beat, then you have 31s in the stats that he mentioned. Say you want a perfect Dratini, and for the sake of being thorough, we'll begin as though it has no perfect stats. You'll want a Ditto, or Egg Machine, or Daycare Rapist, depending on your perspective, with at least one perfect 31. Pokemon caught in the Friend Safari are great for breeding because they have at least 2 perfect IVs. Next are the effort values, or EVs. These are the attributes to the base stats, which improve depending on which Pokemon you defeat. There are 2 ways that these can be improved, either through natural battling or through super training. For the purposes of breeding, super training is preferable as you can tailor the stats to a certain build you hope to achieve for your Pokemon. After EVs are the Pokemon's nature. Now, every nature boosts one stat to the detriment of another, barring of course those that are neutral and have no effect. Once again, if you're looking to achieve a certain build for your Pokemon, you'll want to tailor the nature that best suits what you're looking for. So we now have the Pokemon we want to breed, Ditto and Dratini. We're now going to need the following items. The Everstone, the Destiny Knot, the Power Bracer, the Power Belt, the Power Band, the Power Anklet, the Power Weight, and the Power Lens. The Everstone is an item that when given to a Pokemon will stop it from evolving. However, for the purposes of breeding, it'll also pass down the nature of the Pokemon holding it. So these can be found in Geosenge Town, but if you, like me, accidentally gave it away during Wonder Trade, they can also be found one other way. If you simply use Thief on the Pokemon Graveler, Roggenrola, or Geodude in a cave, you'll be able to acquire another one. The Destiny Knot is another cool addition to this generation of Pokemon. Whereas before, in older generations, you could pass down 3 IVs from the parents, you're now able to pass down 5. This means that in the process of breeding, the chances of giving them the stats that you want are roughly 5 in 12. This of course means that the 6th stat is chosen by a random number generator. So the odds of getting this are roughly 1 in 32, as it will range between the 0, the bad IV, all the way to 31. This complicates the game somewhat and leaves it up to probability, but with enough persistence, you can get the stat that you want. The evolutionary power items I was talking about before can be purchased from the Battle Mason at Kalude City. They cost about 16 battle points per item, so you'll have to do a little bit of battling to get them. What they allow you to do is pass down the desired trait from one parent guaranteed to the child. So for each of the power items, they correlate exactly to one of the stats, and they are appearing right there. So we now have all the items we need to get a breeding. The next step is to go to the Pokemon Daycare Center on Route 7. You'll know the process. Throw in 1 male, 1 female, or 1 don't tell it how to live its life Ditto. Your friendly voyeuristic daycare workers will do all the hard work, figuratively speaking. Once you've handed your Pokemon into the daycare center, you walk around a little bit until the dude out the front has turned around. When he's turned around, you go and talk to him, and he'll give you an egg. You walk around again with the egg, and it will hatch. The amount of time this takes depends on which Pokemon it is. A cool tip to speed up this process is to have a Pokemon in your party with the passive ability Flame Body. I'd recommend Talonflame for this, as it'll incubate your eggs and fly you around between Judge and Daycare Center. When it comes to the actual breeding part, I think the best place to start is with the natures. So slap the Everstone on the Pokemon with the nature that you want and pair it with another one. This is kind of a 100% guaranteed thing, so you'll only have to do this once. Once a new Pokemon is hatched, simply transfer the Everstone to it, and thus your new dynasty will be created. Now, inbreeding is totally fine in this game, and not that I'm its biggest supporter, but it makes breeding super easy, because you can pass down the desired nature. Or, as a Lannister might put it, you can keep it in the family. So now that we have the nature that we want, We pair it with the Pokemon with the perfect 31 IV we want to pass on and attach the relevant power evolutionary item to it. We breed, we pair, we rinse, and we repeat. So say we have a Dratini with an adamant nature, and we have a Ditto with a perfect 31 IV in the attack stat. We give the Everstone to the Dratini, and we give the Power Bracer to Big Mama D. Breed them together, and you'll get a baby Dratini with an adamant nature and a perfect 31 in the attack stat. And at this point, we're starting to get the picture. We're going to want to grab another Dratini or another Ditto with a perfect 31 stat in a category we don't already have, and pair it off with our Dratini. At a certain point, we're going to want to swap out the power evolutionary items for the Destiny Knot, remembering that this allows us to transfer 5 of the parent stats. Normally, I like to do this after we've bred a Pokemon with the nature we want and 3 perfect IVs. So that's pretty much the gist of it all. And with this in mind, we can breed a Pokemon with 5 perfect 31 IV stats. We can, of course, get the 6th one if we desire, but we need to keep in mind that the Destiny Knot only allows us to pass on 5 perfect stats. So the last one generally tends to be a bit of a random numbers game. So if you breed 2 Pokemon together with 5 perfect 31s and you're looking to achieve that 6th and final one, we've crunched a few numbers and the odds of it happening are about 0.5%, so you should be prepared to sink a little bit of time into it. So those are the essentials for getting the perfect 6 you're after. If you found this information useful, feel free to hit that subscribe button, and until next time, happy breeding.